Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this video I want to go over the current controversies that CD Projekt Red is facing. However, very quickly before we get into the main topic, I want to quickly go on a side tangent here about a small indie horror game from Taiwan called Devotion. Now, Devotion was a game released on Steam originally, but because it had a reference to the Chinese president, and it said something along the lines of Winnie the Pooh, idiot or moron or something like that. This being China, they review bombed the game. They don't take criticism very well. They censor everything. So obviously, the game was review bombed and it was actually pulled from Steam by the developer. And I was under the impression that the developer would re-release the game at a later date, but unfortunately that never happened. Now recently, Good Old Games, which is a storefront owned by CD Projekt, actually came out and said that they would actually re-release Devotion, and it would be coming back soon. The tweet was made. Devotion itself, the Twitter account of it said it would be released soon, but unfortunately, due to CD Projekt Red, the game was actually cancelled. It will not be put back in the storefront, and this is because of the reason. Now, this is the reason CD Projekt Red gave was that at the request of gamers, the game will not be returning to the storefront. So this is quite clearly a bullshit excuse. You know, this is clearly just a censorship to make up to the Chinese because they don't want to potentially lose a huge market base. And this actually slides into what we're about to talk about, which is Cyberpunk. Now the problem with Cyberpunk isn't that listen, the opinion on the game doesn't really matter if it's a great game or it's a bad game. What does matter is things like the hype built around it. It was never going to live up to the hype, obviously, and no one should have expected that. You know that it faced some controversy over that, but you'll never please everybody, so I understand that. What I don't understand, however, is knowingly releasing a bad product on the PS4 and Xbox One. And Cyberpunk's official Twitter account has came out and basically said that they knew the performance was extremely bad. They knew it, and they said we should have showed you more gameplay. They didn't deny, oh, this is a mistake, or we'll release a patch that'll fix everything. They said they knew it was bad, but they released it anyway. And this is far more insidious, in my opinion, than just something like loot boxes or hidden costs like that, because they knew the entire game wouldn't run on those consoles. They released it anyway. What took Bethesda and Activision maybe month to a year to completely shit their reputation out the back end, CD Projekt has done it in a month. Has completely destroyed any good rap it had, any good repertoire it had with the consumer. And this is important because if you go on and look at the stock prices of CD Projekt, they actually dropped significantly. Well, maybe not significantly, but they did have a steady decline. I believe they're stabilized now as at the recording of this video, but it's an interesting note, and obviously any devs seeing that will immediately, and it doesn't take a genius to say, this is a problem, we need to correct this. So, I believe it happened in a few stages. Number one, they saw the drop in sales, well, not the drop in price of their stock, and by responding to that, they pulled Devotion to ensure that the Chinese market base wouldn't be annoyed or rile them up or start another controversy with them. And I believe this is also going to affect the bottom line of the next few games released, which is the Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer component and the Witcher mobile game thing, whatever that is. Not too sure if Witcher fans were hankering for a mobile phone game, but whatever. So this is important because I believe these two things, the multiplayer and the mobile game, are going to be so heavily monetized now compared to what the original plans were. And it'll be interesting to see if they actually do, keep it fair enough, or they're going to just go all out. Because if they go all out on these microtransactions, it's going to be fairy telling. But interestingly enough, even with the bad performance of 15 frames and 11 frames a second, you still had absolute troglodytes coming out and defending this. For example, one user said, this game wasn't even supposed to run on last gen equipment. You should feel grateful that CD Projekt Red took time out of its already insanely packed schedule to even give you the ability to play it on last gen garbage. Although that's probably because corporate was forcing them to do it, cause cash. Now, aside from being pretentious and a null bend, this guy also didn't do his research because, funnily enough, CD Projekt Red announced Cyberpunk originally for the PS4 and the Xbox One, which is funny. Now it was back in 2012, however, there was nothing said about performance or anything. They didn't say anything about performance issues or that it would be cancelled for those systems. Because realistically, what are they gonna do? What are their options? Don't release the game, which in my opinion would have been the morally correct thing to do. Not release the game, just say it won't be released. And I understand what it cost. Oh, maybe it would have cost them a lot of money. I understand that, and that is unfortunate. However, you would have kept your consumers' respect. Would you have pissed some people off? Yes. But would it be anywhere near what's going to happen now? No. Choosing to release this broken product has shown us that CD Projekt Red are not infallible. And in fact, this entire month has showed us that they do crumble the money. That they aren't the paragons of, oh, look at all how much content we're getting for The Witcher 3 and how friendly this game studio is. They aren't. The facade has slipped, and it's shown their true colours. But now, what's really going to test their mettle is going forward. How will this affect Cyberpunk? And they have stated that they will release fixes to their credit. Can they put a No Man's Sky issue on this and completely solve all the issues? I hope they can, because I would love to play this game. For the people that do play this game without any issues, on things like the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and the PC. Now, the PC is an interesting one. I've seen some interesting performance on different cards, and it has deviated. It hasn't been as good as I thought, which is a shame. But however, they have stated that PC will get constant updates. The new consoles will get updates, and that they will try and bring the PS4 and Xbox One up to a playable standard, which is great if they can do it. However, one really has to question how much can they do with old hardware at this stage in the game. So they're going to have to release basically 3 different versions of the game. One for PC, one for the older generation consoles, one for the new generation consoles. I'm not too sure how this is really going to work out for them, or if it's even possible. But time really will tell if CD Projekt Red means what they say here, or this is just some bullshit PR, immediate, coping with the problem. This is like a, well, only time can tell if they truly mean what they say, and I hope they do, because so far their damage, what do we call it, their damage control hasn't really stated much, hasn't really fixed anything. Promises are great and all like that, but they also promised that the game would, release in a playable state a month down the line. In fact, the game was delayed a further month because they felt that the product wasn't good enough. So what I feel now is, if this product was their best, then what was it like a month ago? If they thought this was playable, then what do they think is unplayable? I'd hate to see that. But there's no end to this controversy, unfortunately, because we just have to wait and see. Number one, if what will happen to the game Devotion, because it still hasn't been resolved. And secondly, what's going to happen with Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk is going to take months and months of patches to even fix. And it's a shame that some people have to wait to play this game that was teased for 8 years. Now you just have to wait another full year for it to actually be playable. I don't know. I thought it was a crying shame. I was looking forward to Cyberpunk. Thankfully, I didn't pre-order it, and thankfully, hopefully in a year when all the beta testing's over, hopefully, that we can actually get into the game and experience the game as it should be played. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching, and you guys take care now. See ya.